The dimly lit gas station stood alone on a desolate stretch of highway, its flickering fluorescent lights casting eerie shadows on the cracked pavement. The wind whistled through the barren trees, adding an extra chill to the already frosty air. It was the kind of place where time seemed to stand still, where strange things happened when the moon rose high in the night sky. Amelia had been driving for hours, her gas tank nearing empty as she pulled into the station. She couldn't shake the feeling that she was being watched, but she dismissed it as her imagination running wild in the darkness. The air was thick with an unnatural silence as she stepped out of her car and approached the pump. As the nozzle clicked, a flicker of movement caught Amelia's attention. She glanced toward the small convenience store attached to the station, its windows covered in layers of grime. Through the dirty glass, she spotted a figure lurking in the shadows, their eyes fixed on her. The person's face was hidden beneath a wide-brimmed hat, casting their features into deep shadow. Unease crept through Amelia's veins, but she couldn't deny her need for fuel. She hesitated for a moment before mustering the courage to enter the store. The door creaked open, revealing a dimly lit interior cluttered with dusty shelves. A stale smell hung in the air, mingling with the pungent scent of gasoline. As Amelia made her way down the narrow aisles, she noticed the shelves were stocked with outdated products, their packaging faded and worn. The only source of light came from a flickering fluorescent bulb hanging precariously from the ceiling, casting an eerie glow on the old magazines and expired snacks. The figure she had seen outside was nowhere to be found, but a shiver ran down her spine nonetheless. She approached the counter, where a wiry old man with sunken eyes and a toothless grin stood, his long, bony fingers tapping impatiently on the wooden surface. "Evenin'," he rasped, his voice barely audible. "What can I help you with?" Amelia fought the urge to flee as she placed a few items on the counter, attempting to appear calm. But the old man's gaze unnerved her, his eyes seemingly devoid of life. She could sense something off about him, something that sent warning bells ringing in her mind. "Will that be all?" he asked, his voice barely louder than a whisper. "Yes," she replied, her voice trembling slightly. As the old man scanned her items, his bony fingers moved with unnatural speed. His eyes remained fixed on her, unblinking, and Amelia found it difficult to meet his gaze. She couldn't shake the feeling that he was seeing more than he should, peering into the darkest corners of her soul. Suddenly, a loud crash echoed from the back of the store, startling Amelia. She turned towards the noise, her heart pounding in her chest. The old man's grin widened, revealing yellowed, decaying teeth. "Don't mind that," he whispered, his voice laced with a sinister undertone. "Just an old place, fallen apart." Amelia's instinct screamed at her to run, but her car was still pumping gas outside. She was trapped, a helpless prey in the predator's den. The sound of her heart pounding in her ears drowned out all rational thought as she watched the old man's skeletal fingers reach for a rusty, stained hatchet concealed beneath the counter. In a desperate attempt to escape, Amelia darted towards the door, her adrenaline-fueled legs propelling her forward. But before she could reach safety, the old man's grip tightened around her arm, his nails digging into her flesh like talons. A twisted smile crossed his face as he raised the hatchet high above his head. Terror surged through Amelia's veins as she realized the horrifying truth: she was about to become another victim of this deranged gas station. The hatchet swung down with a sickening thud, and Amelia's world turned black. Days later, a passerby noticed the abandoned gas station, its faded sign creaking in the wind. As they approached, they discovered the lifeless body of Amelia, her eyes wide open in a permanent state of fear. The police were called, but the old man was long gone, leaving no trace of his existence behind. The gas station remained a haunting reminder of the horrors that had transpired within its walls. Whispers of the creepy customer and the mysterious old man spread throughout the town, turning the once thriving gas station into a place to be avoided at all costs. And so, the gas station stood, its doors forever closed, a silent witness to the unspeakable darkness that lurked within. The gas station sat at the crossroads, a beacon of flickering lights amidst the darkness of the night. The steady hum of passing cars reverberated through the air as weary travelers sought refuge in its glowing oasis. But beneath the facade of convenience and safety, an ancient evil awaited its chance to consume. As midnight approached, a young couple, Eric and Lisa, pulled into the gas station. Their car sputtered to a stop near one of the fuel pumps, the low gas indicator mocking them. Eric stepped out, shivering in the chilly wind, and began to pump gas while Lisa remained in the car, her eyes scanning the area with unease. The gas station seemed abandoned, its windows smudged with grime, and the overhead lights casting eerie shadows across the deserted forecourt. Lisa's unease grew as she peered through the windshield, spotting a figure lurking in the shadows, their face obscured by a tattered hoodie. She called out to Eric, her voice laced with concern, "Hey, Eric, do you see that person over there?" Eric glanced over his shoulder, but saw nothing. "Nah, babe, you're just spooked. Probably your imagination playing tricks on you." Reluctantly, Lisa shrugged off her unease, though her instinct screamed at her to be cautious. Eric finished pumping gas and climbed back into the car, the engine roaring to life as they prepared to continue their journey. Just as they were about to drive away, a disheveled man stumbled towards them from the shadows, his eyes wild with desperation. His clothes were torn, and his hands were stained with dirt. Eric rolled down his window, a mix of curiosity and concern etched on his face. "Hey, buddy, you okay?" Eric asked, leaning out to get a closer look. The man's voice trembled as he spoke, his words rushed and urgent. "You need to leave, now. This place is cursed. It's not safe." Before Eric could respond, a deafening explosion shook the ground, engulfing the gas station in a maelstrom of flames. The couple's car was thrust backward, its windshield shattering as they were flung into the darkness. Disoriented and covered in debris, Eric and Lisa fought to regain their senses. As the smoke cleared, they discovered the gas station had become a twisted wreckage of twisted metal and charred debris. The eerie silence that followed the explosion was broken only by the crackling of flames and the faint cries for help. Panicked and terrified, Eric and Lisa stumbled through the wreckage, searching for survivors. The air was thick with the acrid scent of gasoline, making it difficult to breathe. Among the ruins, they discovered the disheveled man, his body badly burned and his breath shallow. Gasping for air, he managed to utter a few words before succumbing to his injuries. "The gas station. It feeds on souls." With those cryptic words, the man's life force flickered out, leaving Eric and Lisa in stunned silence. The couple exchanged horrified glances, their minds struggling to comprehend the true nature of the gas station and the fate that had befallen them. As they navigated the wreckage, a sense of dread washed over them. They noticed the twisted remains of other vehicles scattered throughout the explosion site. It became clear that this gas station had claimed many lives before theirs, each one consumed by the insatiable hunger of the cursed place. Feeling the weight of their impending doom, Eric and Lisa stumbled upon a hidden basement entrance amid the rubble. The door creaked open, revealing a dimly lit staircase descending into the depths of darkness. Driven by desperation, they made a fateful decision to explore the hidden underbelly of the gas station, hoping to find answers or a way to escape the sinister fate that awaited them. As they descended into the depths, a nauseating stench filled the air, a sickening mixture of decay and sulfur. The oppressive atmosphere weighed on them, their hearts pounding in their chests as they pressed forward. Each step echoed in the silence, as if the very walls of the basement were watching and listening. They stumbled upon a chamber, a macabre shrine to the gas station's insidious power. Walls adorned with faded photographs revealed the faces of the unfortunate victims who had crossed its path. Each snapshot captured the moment before their lives were snuffed out, their terrified eyes forever frozen in fear. Terror consumed Eric and Lisa as they realized they were but two more souls trapped in the gas station's relentless grip. Their breath quickened as they heard distant whispers, faint voices urging them to join the others in the eternal torment that awaited them. In a desperate bid for survival, they stumbled upon a rusted valve tucked away in a corner. It appeared to be connected to the underground fuel tanks, the lifeblood of the gas station's power. Without hesitation, Eric turned the valve, his actions driven by a glimmer of hope that they could sever the station's connection to its source. But their efforts came too late. The gas station, sensing their defiance, unleashed a final act of revenge. The fuel tanks exploded with a force that shook the earth, a cataclysmic eruption that tore through the basement, swallowing Eric and Lisa in a blinding inferno. In the aftermath, only smoldering ruins remained, the gas station reduced to a charred shell of its former self. The curse that had plagued it for so long had finally claimed its latest victims, leaving no trace of their existence behind. The gas station stood as a chilling reminder of the horrors that had unfolded within its walls. Rumors of its curse persisted, and travelers avoided the area, sensing the lingering malevolence. And in the darkest corners of the night, whispers echoed through the wind, recounting the fateful night when the gas station unleashed its final act of terror, forever etched into the annals of urban legends. The gas station loomed in the distance as the night sky cast its inky veil over the deserted highway. Its neon sign flickered, the letters spelling out gas and go dancing eerily in the dim light. The air was heavy with anticipation as a weary family pulled their car into the forecourt, seeking respite from the long journey. The Adams family had been traveling for hours, the fatigue evident on their faces. As the car rolled to a stop at the gas pump, Mr. Adams stepped out, the chill of the night air biting at his exposed skin. He checked the fuel gauge and realized they were in dire need of gas. Mrs. Adams, lost in her own thoughts, occupied herself by tending to their youngest child, little Emily, who sat drowsily in her car seat. While Mr. Adams focused on fueling the car, their two older children, Michael and Sarah, jumped out to stretch their legs. The gas station seemed to emanate an air of desolation, and unease settled in the pit of Mr. Adams' stomach. But the urgency to refill the gas tank overshadowed any lingering concerns. As the pump clicked, signifying a full tank, Mr. Adams glanced back at his car, his heart plummeting. His eyes widened in sheer horror as he realized Emily was no longer there. Panic seized him, and he sprinted towards the vehicle, calling out for his wife. Mrs. Adams rushed to his side, her face pale and filled with dread. "Where's Emily?" she cried, her voice trembling. Michael and Sarah, sensing the urgency, joined the frantic search. Their eyes darted in all directions, scanning the gas station and its surroundings. But there was no sign of their little sister. In the midst of their panic, a flicker of movement caught Sarah's attention. She turned towards the convenience store adjacent to the gas station, its windows clouded with dirt and grime. Her heart skipped a beat as she caught a glimpse of a small figure inside. "Over there," Sarah exclaimed, pointing towards the store. "I think I saw Emily." Hope mingled with fear as the family rushed towards the store. They burst through the door, their eyes adjusting to the dim interior. The air inside was stale, permeated with the scent of old coffee and forgotten dreams. Shelves lined with expired snacks and dusty trinkets stood as silent witnesses to the years of neglect. Sarah's gaze fell upon a small silhouette huddled in a corner, clutching a worn teddy bear. Relief washed over her as she recognized Emily's familiar features. "Emily! There you are! Are you okay?" But Emily remained silent, her eyes wide with a mixture of fear and confusion. She looked past her family, her gaze fixed on a shadowy figure standing at the far end of the store. The stranger's eyes held a cold intensity as they locked with Emily's, sending a chill down her spine. Mrs. Adams approached Emily cautiously, a tremor in her voice. "Sweetheart, why did you come in here? You scared us. Let's go back to the car." But Emily shook her head, her tiny voice filled with an unexpected certainty. "No, Mommy, we can't leave. He won't let us." A shiver ran down Mr. Adams' spine as he sensed the child's unease. The stranger in the store seemed to grow larger, his presence suffocating. Something about him was deeply unsettling, and a sense of foreboding settled heavily upon the family. Suddenly, the door to the gas station slammed shut with a thunderous crash, sealing them inside. The flickering fluorescent lights buzzed ominously, casting long, eerie shadows that danced upon the walls. Panic gripped the family as they realized they were trapped, caught in the clutches of a malevolent force. With each passing moment, the stranger's presence grew more palpable, his intentions becoming clearer. He was not a man at all but a malevolent entity, a harbinger of darkness that fed on the fear and despair of others. The gas station was his domain, a twisted realm where lost souls were forever ensnared. As the family huddled together, whispers filled the air, their voices echoing with sinister intent. The entity reveled in their terror, savoring the despair that clung to their hearts like a suffocating fog. It relished their vulnerability, playing a wicked game of cat and mouse within the confined space. Hours turned into an eternity as the family fought against the entity's relentless torment. Shadows writhed, morphing into grotesque forms that twisted and contorted. Desperation consumed them, their strength waning as the entity's influence tightened its grip. In a final act of desperation, Mr. Adams mustered his remaining courage. He took a deep breath and stepped forward, defying the suffocating darkness that threatened to consume them all. With a voice laced with determination, he called out to the entity. "Leave us be. Release us from this nightmare. Take me instead." The gas station reverberated with silence, as if holding its breath. The entity paused, considering Mr. Adams' offer. In a macabre twist, it accepted, sensing a new victim, a fresh source of torment. As the entity consumed Mr. Adams' essence, his body contorted and twisted, vanishing into the darkness. The gas station shook with malevolent glee, the entity feeding on the family's agony as they watched their beloved father disappear before their eyes. But even in the face of tragedy, a flicker of resilience ignited within the remaining family members. Michael, Sarah, and Mrs. Adams clung to one another, finding solace in their unity. With renewed determination, they vowed to escape the gas station's clutches, to fight for their survival and each other. With a collective surge of strength, they pushed against the oppressive darkness, their willpower driving them forward. The entity's influence waned, weakened by their unity and refusal to succumb. In a burst of blinding light, they broke free from the gas station's confines, their bodies tumbling onto the forecourt. As they lay in the cold embrace of the night, gasping for breath, the gas station stood eerily silent. The entity had been thwarted, Its reign of terror temporarily halted. But the Addams family knew the malevolent force would forever haunt their memories, a reminder of the darkness they had faced. They clung to one another, tears mingling with relief and grief. They were forever scarred by the gas station's horrors, but their love for one another became a beacon of hope in the darkness. Together, they would face whatever came next, their bond unbreakable, and their spirits unyielding.